what I've handed you today is just an overview and summary of what I submitted. And I'm representing the Gender Studies program on campus. We are an academic program, and I'm applying for funding in order to enhance the intellectual atmosphere on campus and hopefully combine academics and students a little bit more consciously than we often do. I believe that academic programs are enhanced with student participation, obviously, and students get a lot out of having the intellectual atmosphere on campus expand. And so I'm asking for funding to run some programs for the Gender Studies program, specifically 2 speaker events, one in the fall and one in the spring. In the fall, we plan to bring in speaker Dr. Cynthia Orozco in collaboration with the history department to talk about Mexican-American women and identity. In the spring, in collaboration with the sociology department, we're hoping to host a symposium on sex trafficking and hoping to bring in up to 6 speakers for a day-long symposium on that. In addition to these speaker events, Gender Studies would like to raise awareness of gender studies on campus and the issue of gender by having a couple things that engage students a little bit more. And so I've come up with a film series, hopefully 1 to 2 films each semester, and also a book club, if we can get that going. The library has expressed interest in collaborating with us on that as well. On the reverse side of the handout, you'll see the budget, which is the same as the budget that I submitted to you in your packets. Gender Studies supports the mission of the university by fostering our awareness of our interconnected world and the issues that shape it. Gender Studies and gender issues are so crucial to that. And by fostering an environment of inclusivity and appreciation for diversity. So that's that. And that was less than 5 minutes.
That's
but,
right.
I will be happy to entertain your questions.
Okay.
How many
That's the
students
question.
do you have participating in
We have a small number of gender studies minors, but I would hope that these activities and these events would be interesting to the entire student body. No one would be excluded, student, community, faculty, staff, everybody would be welcome to participate. We've never done the film series in the book club before, so I don't know how many students might participate. I'm hoping to have funding to give people the book that they would read, so that that would hopefully, but I'm thinking maybe 20 people might want to do that. At our talks this last year, we've had about 50 people, so it's not insignificant. Do I have to call on people?
You can select who you want to go there.
All right. Who's next?
There's 2 questions that are connected. So when it comes to the film series, $400 seems a lot of money for that.
Okay, so sometimes you need to, it depends on the film that we show. So if we own the film, then obviously it wouldn't cost anything. If we don't own the film, then there are fees associated with renting it for an institution to show that can be as high as $300 or more. And that's just for one showing. And so I would, so I would try to avoid that if possible, but there are some films that are worth showing that really do cost a lot of money. And there are permissions involved with screening. So I would want to be able to be following all the correct rules, and that's why there's...
If you don't do that, you're going to get sued. So
Exactly.
universities can get sued.
Have you surveyed or had any polls around campus that show the students' interest in any sort of program such as the book club or the film series?
I have not. I've sort of talked about it among people, and they've said, yeah, that sounds interesting. I don't know how it'll go. I mean, it is a big kind of experiment, I'll be honest about that. I'm trying to come up with creative ways to engage the student population broadly with these issues. And this is one way to do that outside of a class, so students aren't taking the gender studies classes. They could still benefit from thinking about these issues in a way that is not in an academic setting all the time. It's just academically oriented.
Given the academic nature of the program, have you approached either
your direct dean, Dean Tardo, or any of the other deans on the Dean's Council or the Provost's office to see about additional funding for this. I mean, I know it's common knowledge that academic money is tied, but given the academic nature, it would seem that's where financial support would come from.
These are not, you're not supporting academic programs. So this is not the program, this is extra beyond the program. I, this year, did get funding from the dean to support these speaker events. The dean has told me that I need to talk to you guys for funding in the future for these events. So they're not the program. Gender studies right now is a minor in that academic program. I'm not asking for money for that. I want money for that, but I'm not asking you all for money for that. These are extra events that I like to program supported by gender studies in order to promote greater awareness and engagement with these issues on campus, especially among the student body. Yes?
So,
She's next.
Maggie.
Oh, well, my
Sorry.
question was Will's.
Oh, okay.
So
Oh, my
this is
bad.
why
So I-
That's why we sit together.
Okay.
So I do have, and please don't take this negatively, it is more of a question. In light of the fact that the gender studies minor and program is a new initiative on campus.
It is not.
It's not a new
It
initiative
is not a new initiative. Gender studies minor has been around for about 8 years.
for about a year.
Mhm.
Thank you for that. Do you think that in a vision in the light of the restrictions that we have on student services fees this year, that it may be better to have a smaller conference for spring 2018?
Well, certainly that can be up for negotiation. You know, I propose big, right?
Right.
You ask for more than you think you're gonna get. You know, we're hoping, and the sociology department and health and human performance is interested as well, in really doing something significant about sex trafficking to really raise awareness of this issue on campus. We had a speaker a couple months ago come in. I have another speaker coming in a couple weeks. They're talking about sex trafficking, and we feel like we're building up some momentum on this topic, and that it makes sense to do a major event next spring. We couldn't do it earlier than that. It didn't work for our schedules.
What are those two departments kicking in? Society-
Well, they don't have
sociology
any
and
money either. Sociology is going to be doing the logistics. I'm
Okay.
not sure how the funding is going to break out. I think it depends on how much funding gender studies is able to secure. But the departments are planning to collaborate.
So,
I don't have any.
They're gonna collaborate, but there's no funding that comes with it.
There may be, sociology may have some funding,
Okay.
but you know how academic departments actually
Okay,
don't
yeah,
know how much
I'm-
funding they
yes,
have
I'm very
right
well,
now.
you guys
So,
aren't funded
yes.
very well.
Yes.
So for the speaker series, have you thought about partnering up with the already established William Mayo speaker series? I know recently they had Laverne Cox, which can relate to the gender studies. I know it goes further than my spectrum can probably comprehend, but as far as gender studies go, have you thought about, you know, possibly collaboration to bring some of your speakers? That way it will be lower on budget.
I would be happy to consider that. Nobody asks me. I think that it would be great to have more coordination among all of the different speaker events. Everybody sort of works in their own little world. If we could have better coordination, I would certainly entertain that. The events that Gender Studies is planning here are a more intimate nature than the sort of things that the Mayo Speaker Series like Laverne Cox tends to do. I'm not thinking about bringing in you know, a $15,000 speaker and having a full house. This is something that we would have, you know, a smaller audience in the student center, make the people who come in more accessible to the students, bring them to classes, have them available for other things. So
What classes, excuse me, what classes?
any classes of people who might be interested. So usually I have people come to my gender studies classes, we have history classes. For the sex trafficking, we could bring them to sociology classes. So there's a wide variety that we can draw on.
Well, so I mean, I have a question. In concerns to, and I've kind of like been learning about like the gender spectrum and how they influence the different cultural parts of our society, is that with bringing in these two speakers and kind of the promotion of the gender studies program, what do you think the benefit to the campus will be if it was fully funded and like people came and kind of engaged?
Well, primarily, these speakers will engage students in an intellectual way about these issues that are relevant for their everyday life. And so it is helping to prepare students to go off beyond the campus, to be aware of issues that relate to gender in the wider world. And that's really the objective of the program and of the events that we plan, that students are aware that it's not just that they don't live in a little bubble, and that there are wider issues that they need to engage with as they become fully functional adults in our world.
Well-rounded.
So, well-rounded, yes.
Two items. Number one, I think based on the way you described what y'all are hoping to accomplish in terms of the type of speakers you wish to bring, the setting, more intimate setting, I would encourage you to reach out to Dr. Keck and specifically look at partnering with the Sam Rayburn Speaker Series, because that is more of how those speakers are geared. I know they're always looking to add published individuals who would be focusing on, bringing a published work to campus for students to read.
So my understanding of Dr. Keck's initiative is that he's looking for senior scholars, academics, who have something published, and to come and talk and to be engaged. And that's not exactly the approach
Okay, so
that I'm
slightly
going on
different.
here.
Sure.
Yes.
And then,
But definitely.
second item, I noticed under the spring 2018, you have 6 speakers listed. Hotel transportation honorarium, about 6,000. In the fall, we're looking at a single speaker honorarium transportation hotel, 3,000. How is it we spend 3,000 for one speaker and then 6,000 for 6 speakers?
So the speaker in the fall is coming from much farther away, and I'm hoping to get local people for the, people who are in the immediate area for the symposium. Also, it really depends on where they're coming from, and that number is probably going to be flexible in terms of what honorarium we're going to need to pay them.
Sure.
I'm hoping for the symposium to come away with a lot less.
Yeah.
That was my goal.
What's your priority here? If we could only fund one of your items, what would the priority be?
The speaker series is my priority.
The one in the fall? Are you
One in the-
putting those together?
I'm putting those together.
Well, that's
I
that's
have to think about
10,000.
which one. I
So
know.
let's say, let me rephrase my question.
Which speaker
If you're funded
series?
$5,000, what would your priority be then?
If I had only $5,000, it would probably be the speaker in the fall.
Okay,
Although I might take that money and try to make it stretch.
sure, no, I understand that.
I think
Got
Jasmine.
time for one more question.
Okay, my question was, how is this benefit my students academically, and if you weren't to get all of the money, like, well, no, you just asked that question.
I just asked
You just asked the question.
This benefits our students academically because it makes them aware of larger issues. All of this speaker series is aimed at the intellectual engagement of the students in analyzing, studying, figuring out academically how this can enhance their understanding of the world. And the same goes for the film series and the book club. Right? This is, I would want an academic engagement with this. I don't plan to just show a film, but rather have a discussion, have it led by a professor. I don't plan to just have students read a book, right? I plan to have them read a book and then come and discuss it in a way that's substantive. Possibly eventually a signature course.
Okay.
Thank you very